Welcome back to the center of it all. First-time home buyers who benefited from the federal tax credit in 2008 are expected to start paying it back, while those who waited until 2009 seem to have lucked out. John Stroh has the details.
D-Day has arrived for everyone that has taken advantage of the 2008 first-time homebuyer tax credit. It's time to start paying back Uncle Sam. However, those of you who took advantage of the tax credit in 2009-2010 may not be quite home free. Brian Allen, a mortgage advisor with Capital Mortgage and Finance Corporation, talks about the evolution of the tax credits.
All these banks started folding, and so they needed to come up with a way to get the stimulus. They needed to get the housing market back on track, so they came up with this 2008 tax credit. And essentially what the tax credit said was for first-time home buyers from April until December 31st of 2008, if you were buying a house, you could get this tax credit for up to $7,500.
Tom Kirsch of H&R Block and State College offers a little insight into what you need to be aware of as you prepare your income taxes.
The maximum that they would have received would have been $7,500. If that's the case, it'll be $500 a year starting with the 2010 tax return until they get it paid off.
Wondering what happens if you sell your home before the credit is paid back? Kirsch has the answer.
There are some calculations that have to take into effect, but basically they'll need to pay it back completely on their next tax return. The only way they can get out of it is if the value of their home has decreased, and then if that happens, there's a possibility they may not have to pay it all back, or they may not have to pay any of it back.
While most of you who took advantage of the 2009-2010 version of the tax credit will get away without paying a dime back to the federal government, there are a few exceptions.
With the 2008 people, they have to pay it back if they sell their home, convert it to business use, rental, or get foreclosure in any of the time until up to 15 years. But with the people who purchased and got the first-time home buyer credit in 2009 or 10, it's only 36 months.
If you decide to tackle your taxes by yourself, you're going to need to attach Form 5405 to your federal income tax return. But Alan may offer the best advice in dealing with this credit.
The tax professionals, their job is to make sure you're not putting yourself in a bad situation with the government, and that obviously people are capitalists. They don't want to pay more than they have to. Very smart to do. So I would suggest that they talk to their tax professional.
If you'd like some help from the pros at H&R Block, Kirsch will be more than happy to help you.
We have several offices in the State College area. Our main office here in the Hills Plaza. We're inside Sears at the Nittany Mall. We're on Allegheny Street in Bellefonte, and we're in the Walmart Supercenter Plaza in Lewistown.
You can also contact Brian Allen at ballen@helpmeba.com. And don't forget, the deadline to file your 2010 federal income tax return is April 18th. For the center of it all, I'm John Stroh.
Thanks, John. The housing market has been in a fragile state for the past few years, and not just for home buyers. If you're putting your home up for sale, we have a few tips to help you through the process.
You paint the brick in the bookshelves just to make it.
The process of staging a home to sell can mean anything from small repairs and rearranging furniture to the full-fledged remodeling of a home. Luckily, there are people out there trained to help homeowners avoid unnecessary costs. One such expert, Jessica Dolan, owner of Room to Breathe Home Organizing and Staging Company in State College, consults with clients to make sure they're highlighting the best features of the home.
I walk through a house room by room with a client and just tell them all the suggestions I think they should do. Sometimes I break it out into phases for them, so I'll give them like a phase 1 list of items I think they really should do before they list the house. And then phase 2 would be items that I think they should tackle if they don't have an offer within a couple weeks. A house that's been properly staged, what happens is you create the focus on the characteristics of the house and take the attention away from the sellers and the seller's stuff, because that's not what's being sold. The house is being sold. So that's what needs to be showcased.
Dolan says full-scale, often costly improvements are not always necessary, and it helps for sellers to consult with an expert before making drastic changes.
I love HGTV, but I think on the staging shows, they do show big improvements, lots of work, and people assume that that's what every stager does when they come in, and that's not the case. I work really hard to use what's already in a house and just rework it and it's amazing what that can do. And it's also amazing what people have tucked away in closets and cabinets that can be repurposed. So staging can cost very, very little. I mean, a couple $100s.
Real estate agent for Kissinger, Bigetel and Brower, Nisa Smith, says the housing market is still fragile and sellers need to take extra steps when putting their homes up for sale.
National Association of Realtors actually, for 2010, the statistics are that home buyers are looking at an average of 12 homes and taking an average of 12 weeks to look during the looking process of finding a home. So they're taking their time and being very picky. They want to be able to just move right into a home and not have to do a lot of work. Homes are selling on average in Centre County 103 days on the market, and Jessica's homes that are staged sell 30 days or less. It's obvious, you can see the difference.
Smith says in today's real estate market, presentation is one of a few important things she recommends homeowners keep in mind when listing their homes.
To make sure it's priced right, because if it's overpriced, unfortunately in the end it undersells. Presentation number 2, so having the stager come in, implementing the changes. Number 3, I would say, would be availability. You want to make sure that you have your home ready for showings. So do not turn a showing away.
Dolan keeps in mind the fact that each house is unique and says a vital piece to getting a home sold is knowing the demographic of potential buyers and making adjustments based on that information.
Before I go on a staging, I will always check out the neighborhood and try to get as much feedback from the realtor as I can about who's buying in that neighborhood. So if it's, new families, then I stage the house to appeal to a young family, or if it's an elderly retirement neighborhood, I will stage a home a little more traditional neutral to appeal to that market. So really knowing who and what you're selling to is important.
Dolan and her team from Room to Breathe can assist home sellers with a variety of services, from scheduling all the cleaning, carpentry, and painting that needs to be done, to helping move items to storage, and even shopping for items to redecorate a space. Whether a homeowner decides to enlist professional help or do the work themselves, Dolan gives her advice on what to keep in mind.
I would say the top 3 things are decluttering, removing of personal belongings so that the actual house is shown off versus the personal items within the house. The second big one is just a good deep cleaning. So many people underestimate the value of a deep cleaning, and that includes windows inside and out, picture frames, the top of the refrigerator, all the nooks and crannies. I would say the third biggest is just paint is another really inexpensive, easy fix in most cases, but can provide huge dramatic appeal for buyers coming in.
For more information on the services Jessica provides, visit roomtobreathe.us. Up next, minor league baseball team the Altoona Curve gets a new look this season. We'll be back with more on the center of it all after this.